All right, welcome back everybody to Smooth Operator, the series where we try and take Carlos Sainz and beat Ferrari and most importantly Hamilton for taking Carlos Sainz's seat. Last time around we were at the Spanish Grand Prix, and let's take a look at how the Spanish Grand Prix transpired. So as you can see, Lando Norris won the race, Oscar Piastri in second, 1-2 for McLaren, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda. Both the Red Bulls doing pretty well. The Mercs still beating us. Charles Leclerc had some issues. And then Sainz in 9th, so still picking up points. Albon in 15th, not so great. But, we're not doing too bad. If we take a look at the driver's standings, then Lando Norris still in the lead with 170 points. Max Verstappen in second. Then comes Oscar Piastri and Lewis Hamilton not too far behind. Charles Leclerc in 5th, not having the best run of form. Then George Russell, then Carlos Sainz, and then Kimi Antonelli, who's been slowly catching up to Carlos Sainz. So let's try to prevent that from happening in the next couple of races. Then Yuki Tsunoda also been slowly making his way up. Then Liam Lawson, Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly, Gabriel Bortoleto, Behrman in 15th, then Hulkenberg 16th, Ocon 17th, Albon in 18th with 1 point, Jack Doohan, and then Isaac Hajar without any points so far. And then we take a look at the calendar. So Canada up next. We got about 2 weeks until Canada arrives. We unfortunately do not have any upgrades for the Canadian Grand Prix. We do have one coming after the suspension, which we should be able to manufacture for the Austrian Grand Prix. And then another rear wing, which we might have to consider emergency manufacturing for the Austrian Grand Prix. And then right after the Austrian Grand Prix, we get the 6th chassis design that will be complete. So in the next 2 races, we'll have, after these next 2 races, we'll basically have 3 upgrades ready to go. And another ATR period starts after this race. So again, we'll be able to maybe make a bit of a better suspension, or we can wait till that rear wing completes and then use the ATR period to make an even better one. But we need that jump in performance quite quickly. We've done this is the 8th episode, so I think we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 races. The 10th. So the 10th race is today, and then after Silverstone, that will be the halfway point of the season. So that's where we really, need to be getting some performance, because, only 12 more races. Sure, it's a long season, but we really need Carlos to be fighting at the front to be able to beat Ferrari throughout the season. And let's hope we can do so. All right, guys, so taking a look at the performance before the race, we're still in about 9th. It figures. DRS effectiveness still 6th place, so I hope this helps us a little bit for Canada. And let's just hope we can stick into the DRS train for this race. And let's see what happens. Let's get into qualifying. All right, before we head into the weekend, again, a classic weekend, no sprint races. A bit of rain predicted during qualifying, so that could hamper our chances a bit, but then it should be a clear race. And let's take a look at the track report here. So yeah, Saturday, a little bit of rain there. Then the historic safety car chance about 50%, so it might be worth going on a harder tire for longer to try and eke a safety car out. But anyway, we'll see what happens once we get there. I'll see you in qualifying. All right, coming into qualifying 1, we're going to take a look here at the track conditions. It seems like it's only going to get drier throughout the session, but we do want to send our drivers out for an initial lap. So that's what we're going to do. So Sainz heading out for his first lap. We're just going to speed through this again. Should be a banker, as it seems like the rain is going to ease up towards the end of this session. So the track should become a lot drier. So Sainz with an 18.9 and Albon about nearly 8/10 behind. Just gonna fast forward a little bit, see how our times stack up. All right, so Sainz heading out for one last lap in Q1. Track is deteriorating. It's getting more wet again, but I think Albon can still put in a better lap, but Sainz should be secure anyway. But seeing as there is going to be rain during qualifying, we might as well use our intersets. So Sainz on a nice clear lap here, but again, we might not be looking at an improvement because the track has deteriorated. The only thing I hope is that Albon can improve. He has a clear track now, so improved first sector for Sainz. That is good. Albon as well. Sainz again in good spirit, good motivation. Okay, yellow middle sector, so not quite as good as the last run. I wonder if it'll be an improvement. Albon is improving, so let's hope we can get him out of Q1. And then coming up to the last chicane and the Wall of Champions, where many have fallen. And then comes across the line. Is it an improvement for Sainz? Let's see. No improvement for Sainz. What is Albon gonna do? Only one position, so yeah, the track has gotten worse again. And Albon again not looking too fast. All right, Q2 now. We want to get Sainz out quickly because there is rain predicted in the next 5 minutes or so. So let's just get him out for his lap. All right, so heading on to his first lap here. Sainz in Q2. 4 minutes left until the rain hits, so I do think everyone will get their initial lap in, but that's probably the one that's going to count. I saw that it was going to dry out towards the end of the session again, but I'm not sure if there'll be enough time. I don't think so. And again, we're just trying to get inside that top 10. We should be beating the Alpines, the Hulkenberg we should beat as well for sure. And then it's going to be a bit of a tussle with the Aston Martins probably. Hadjar should also not be getting through this quali session, but so far looking pretty good. And coming through the last chicane down to the line. Big acceleration zone. What will it be? And it's going to be a 12-1. So let's just see how that compares to some of the front runners. The Piastri. Yeah, Piastri comes across the line now. 7/10 behind. Yuki only 2/10 behind Piastri. He got a nice slipstream, I think. Leclerc not far behind. Verstappen only 100th. And then Gasly is behind us. That is good news. Doohan as well. Antonelli. All right, so P9 for now in Q2. It is going to start raining here any second. So if anything, that should secure our spot into Q3. All right, into Q3 we head. Let's just, again, get Carlos Sainz out initially on a lap. Because the track might get worse. So Sainz out for his lap. So are all the other drivers. Just a bit worried about the track deteriorating over time. Let's see if we have any prediction. Yeah, seems like it's going to be slightly more wet. I think it goes up a slight amount. So, again, best to get the lap in early and then see if we can fit another one in a second run. And then through the last chicane, we're going to go. Sainz looking good so far. Lap has been neat and tidy. Just hope we can qualify well here and then use the DRS in the race. What will it be for Sainz? And it is a 17.5.
Currently you are P1.
Let's see, as all the other drivers come across the line, what will we do? Okay, so 8/10 behind. That's not too bad, to be honest. We're right behind Antonelli and Hamilton. Question being, of course, if we can put in a better lap. I'm still going to try and put a lap in at the end, but yeah, track is now slowly deteriorating. All right, guys, so in Q3, unfortunately, the weather deteriorated so much that we couldn't improve our lap, and this is how the starting grid will line up. Max Verstappen taking pole position, doing very nicely with Oscar Piastri in second, then Lando Norris in third, Yuki Tsunoda in fourth, doing really well in that second Red Bull, then Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton in seventh, not too far ahead of Carlos, so let's see if we can challenge him. Andrea Kimi Antonelli then, Carlos Sainz in ninth, Pierre Gasly in 10th, Lance Stroll in 11th in the Aston Martin, then Nico Hulkenberg with another good qualifying. So does Isaac Hadjar, has a good qualifying session in 13th, Fernando Alonso in 14th, Du in 15th, Ollie Behrman 16th, Ocon 17th, Alex Albon in 18th, Portoletto 19th, and Liam Lawson in 20th. Let's go.
Final checks are being carried out by the teams, and it won't be long until we get this race underway. And for Lando Norris, this is another chance to see what he can do in this car.
It's a promising position for them starting in P3. They'll be looking to make the most of the slipstream.
But remember, anything can happen in Formula One. The drivers are ready.
All right, the 5 red lights come on. And it is go for the Canadian Grand Prix. Let's see, Sainz heading into turn 1, slotting in 9th place. Behind the Mercedes of Antonelli. No major collisions so far in turn 1. Albon squabbling over 19th place, 18th and 19th. And Sainz doing well so far, holding on to the cars ahead. As Antonelli actually attacking onto the back of George Russell. So let's hope Sainz can stay ahead of Gasly here. And let's take a look at the tires. How are we split up here? Oh, okay, interesting. So some of these cars actually going for soft tires, which is surprising to see. I wonder if they'll go for a 2-stop or a 3-stop. Or a 2-stop or a 1-stop. Maybe they'll go straight to hards. Okay, so doing well here with Sainz. We can have about a lap or two pushing on the tires. But obviously, gonna try and not to do so if I can. If I can get Gasly out of the DRS range, that will be massive, of course. Let's just keep pushing. So far, yeah, let's take him off of tires. I think we're keeping up with the Mercedes pretty well. We're already onto the back of Antonelli. We might be able to try and move. Yes, we do. So up the inside of Antonelli. Very nicely done by Sainz. So 8th place now for Carlos Sainz. Let's take another look at that replay. Visor cam here. Very nice up the inside at the chicane. Getting that move done early on in the race. Very nicely done, Carlos. Main goal is just sticking onto the back of this train. Let's hope Russell doesn't lose the cars ahead either. Gasly has already lost a train in 10th position. That is good. Sainz here now closing up onto George Russell. And actually thinking about a move. See if we can use our deployment and go a little bit aggressive on the tires just to catch up to the back of Lewis Hamilton. Ooh, but we get a bad run out of the last corner. We're just going to tone it down for now. Try to recharge the pack a little bit. Just trying to get Albon onto the back of Ocon as well. But Albon just struggling. And we're just going to keep pushing on the fuel for a little bit here, just to try and keep up with the cars ahead. All right, onto the main straight now, behind George Russell. Still in this train. Antonelli is still behind us. Lawson overtaking Albon. Albon really dropping back, not having great pace, it seems, today. Let's just take him off of pushing, because yeah, if that is going to be his pace for today, then there's no point pushing the tires with him. Again, we're doing nicely holding on to the back of this train, but We can see it's pretty hard. We have to push the tires quite a bit. Now we think about starting the save with Carlos.
Just focus on your tires. Copy, copy.
Let's hope we can stick close to the cars ahead. Do have to keep in mind Albon is on medium tires compared to all the soft runners ahead of him. So let's hope we can have a little bit of an advantage towards the end of the race. Assume the soft tire runners will run out of their tire a little bit sooner, hopefully. But if not, it'll be a good barometer to kind of see where we're at with the tires. So maybe, you know, it'll make a one stop to soft tires viable if the other cars can make it last. So far, we're doing pretty well. Lap 6 now. We're holding on to the DRS of George Russell in front. Antonelli is still with us, but Gasly has already dropped back about 6 seconds. Albon really struggling, though. He's not had a great run of form so far. Oh, and a collision at the back of the fields.
Big crash in the main straight.
Let's see here. Big crash between Liam Lawson and who's that gonna be? Is Albon involved? Oh, Lawson goes into the back of Bortoleto, so doesn't seem like there's too much damage. Pretty minor collision, so nothing too bad. No safety car will be pulled out, I assume. Soft runner's doing really well on those tires. Actually matching the medium, so might be a case of that we want to actually maybe change to soft whenever we can. Just run long on these mediums and then go to the softs at the end. See now, as the front runners are starting to push a little bit, let's hope we can stick on the back. They always seem to slow down a little bit down the down by the hairpin, so we're still comfortably within DRS, I suppose. Yes, we are. And then Antonelli still on the back of us as well. It's a bit of a race, the race is at a bit of a standstill now with these DRS trains. The one thing I can try doing is starting to harvest a little bit piece by piece and then tactically deploying to maybe move up a spot here or there. Just see here as well on the straightaway how much extra speed we get with the DRS. We managed to always close up a little bit to the cars in front, even though they still have DRS. So Verstappen posting the fastest lap on lap 10 now, and again just trying to harvest with Carlos. Front 2 as well, and now Verstappen and Piastri actually slowly but surely creating a little bit of a gap to Tsunoda behind. So this is possibly where some battling starts happening. I think it's actually Tsunoda at the front of this train, so here's where the pace will probably start slowing down a little bit, hopefully. Let's push the tires for just a second to try and catch up to the train ahead. We really don't want to lose them. It's gonna be tough. We're gonna have to deploy here a little bit. And if we don't catch up by the hairpin here, I'm just gonna let Antonelli overtake us. Try and carry us up, which is exactly what we're gonna do. Do get somewhat closer, but yeah, let's try and get Antonelli to carry us up a little bit further. Here comes Antonelli down the straightaway. Let's see, can he do it down the first straightaway? No, not quite. But here we're gonna run out of deployment, so here Antonelli should definitely be able to pull an overtake. There he goes, Antonelli up the inside of Carlos Sainz. Can he pull that move off? Yes, he sure can. So up behind Antonelli. Yeah, slowly losing pace a little bit, which is unfortunate. But now we try and use Antonelli to our advantage and catch back up to that train ahead. Tsunoda now actually catching back up to both the McLaren and the Red Bull. So Tsunoda doing really well here for Red Bull, and wouldn't be too far-fetched in saying Tsunoda can maybe actually win the race here because he's on the medium tire compound. So definitely not out of the question. All right, Antonelli now doing everything in his power to try and get away from Carlos Sainz here. So we're just pushing a little bit on the tires and try to see if we can latch back onto the back of Antonelli, which I'm pretty sure we are going to be able to do, which is good. There we go. So yeah, comfortably within DRS again, and that means we're going to try and save our fuel a little bit. All right, on lap 18 now. We're just on board here for a second with Alex Albon, because it does seem that the medium tires are slowly gaining a little bit of pace on some of these cars ahead. I'm not sure if it is the same for the cars in the top 10 here, because they might just be a little bit too fast for us. But Albon is definitely gaining some speed, so I'm just gonna stop him fuel saving for a little bit and try and get him to do some overtakes here. And then meanwhile, Sainz is still just saving his fuel with Antonelli. We are within about 5 seconds or so of Hamilton, who's maybe about to lose some slipstream from Norris or some DRS. So maybe we can try and catch up. Obviously, he's our main target to try and beat. Right, Albon now getting past.
Yep, copy.
Albon getting past Stroll as well. And again, we're just doing good pace-wise.
Good job.
So maybe strategy is coming into play here for Albon. We might be onto something, as now seems like some of the soft runners are gonna already go in for their first pit stop. So I think we will just commit to our initial strategy if they do start the pit now. But Hulkenberg and Lawson moving to a medium tire. All right, so Yuki Tsunoda, one of the first outside of Hulkenberg and Lawson to come into the pits. He's on fresh soft tires, so they will do a 2-stop. Question now being, of course, if that will pay off for them. We're just going to commit to our 1-stop strategy, I think. Still have a lot of tire saving to do with Sainz and fuel saving as well. But actually, that being said, we can do some fuel saving on the second stint as well. So
Copy.
let's just try and keep the fuel usage up a bit, and let's try to make some pace so that we lose less time with Antonelli here. Albon now busy fighting some of the cars ahead as well. The 2 Alpines he's fighting now. So see how that goes. Try to manage this as best as I can, and then we'll move over to the pit stop phase whenever I come back to you. All right, so Antonelli has just made his pit stop as well, so he's also going to go for a 2-stop. Again, I'm just going to try and make this this 1-stop work here with Carlos Sainz. Obviously, it does mean that some of these drivers will be really quick
Focus.
towards the end of the race, but I'm hoping we can stay ahead until the pit stop phase, and then try to offset with those hard tires and make a difference that way. All right, guys, so the plan now is to obviously have Albon. He's ahead of Gasly here, and we're just gonna try and keep Antonelli behind as best as we can, make him lose time on these soft tires, so that Sainz gets a bigger window to pit into, and hopefully that makes our strategy work. And then let's see if we can get Sainz to that P8. I think a top 7 will be pretty hard, but as long as we keep Antonelli behind here with Albon, we might have a chance of finishing P8. But yeah, 3 more laps until we pit Sainz, so let's see. All right, we're going to start pushing very hard here with Sainz on his tires.
And you go push.
Last 3 laps here on these tires, so let's try to get the most out of them. Ooh, virtual safety car. This is where we box. This is where we box.
Yes.
Perfect. So let's see here. Big crash, Isaac Hadjar. Let's see what happens here. Oh, just completely misses the corner and goes into the barrier at one of the chicanes. And yeah, very unfortunate for the Racing Bulls. They've not have a had a good time this time around, but in the meanwhile, it gives us the opportunity to pit to our hard tires, and we're actually going to do the same with Albon, so this is definitely playing into our hand here. There we go, we'll do a double stack. And that does mean hopefully Sainz should come out ahead of Antonelli. Let's see, out of the pits now. Albon coming in as well, and then Gasly coming into the pits. There we go. Yes, we are going to come out ahead of Antonelli, so this is perfect. So we'll just try and save the tires as much as we can, because we do have to make them last until the end, but that even opens us up to maybe pitting late for another set of softs or something like that. So we'll see. All right, so VST is ending. Back up to racing speed we go.
Battery's good. Okay.
And obviously Antonelli is probably going to catch up to us pretty quickly here, but then our goal will be to stay in his DRS as long as we can. Another yellow flag though. So something more happens. Is it Norris, Bortoletto? I'm not sure. Oh, Antonelli had a spin. That plays even more into our cards. So coming out the hairpin, cold tires perhaps. Yeah, the spin of Antonelli. So yeah, we're having luck going our way here a little bit. All right, so Antonelli overtook Sainz now, so he's made all that time up again. He must have pushed the tires really hard, but you can see already how much that has affected his tire wear. Norris into the pits now. Strange decision to pit this late. Piastri still has to pit. Interesting. Oh, no, no, no. Not again.
You okay? I'm okay.
Now we're watching Carlos Sainz here.
So in the side by side with Antonelli and
ends up making
oh,
contact with the barrier. That will have knocked their confidence, I'm sure.
it is the Wall of Champions, and once again Carlos has crashed a car. I can't believe it.
Crew in the garage could do nothing but watch on.
I can't believe it. I mean, major front wing damage. We have to pit him now. So, yeah, we'll mount a new wing and then onto the medium tires, I suppose. It's going to be a big recovery race then.
Box.
And the thing is, he also has suspension damage, so we'll have to see. I'm going to cancel the pit stop because somehow we're still holding on to the back of Alonso here. So I'm just going to see how this plays out and if our rear wing might not be, or our front wing might not be as impactful. It is major damage, but let's see. I'm just going to try and hold on for one lap here, see how that goes. Yeah, Alonso creating some distance out of the corners, but with some luck we can maybe just about hold on to the DRS. In the end, we're going to lose a lot more time doing an extra pit stop, changing the wing to maybe not gain too much of a performance advantage. Again, here down the main straight. Alonso is pushing though, I think. Which might be a bit of an issue. Let's just use a little bit of deployment to try and see if we can keep up. There we go. That should definitely be enough for now. So yeah, the rest of this race is just going to be managing this damage and try and see if we can in some way make it till the end of this race without having to make that extra pit stop. But we will see. At least our DRS is functioning the way it should, so holding on to this P9 for now. And again, creating a little bit of distance to Hulkenberg, so that's not too bad. All right, so lap 36, just over halfway. We're still holding on with Sainz. And I'll keep you guys posted, but so far our plan to not change the wing is working out pretty well. All right, so The front wing, unfortunately, it doesn't pay off because Sainz locks up here.
They took a gamble and it was just too late.
So we're using our deployment now to try and catch back up to Antonelli and Alonso. But once Antonelli gets ahead here, it might be a done deal and we might not have anything to hold on to anymore. About 2 seconds away. Come on, Sainz. Keep pushing, but again, that mistake from Sainz very costly here. And really ruining our chance at a nice finish here today. Alright, on to the back of Alonso.
More if we can.
So we've done well to catch back up. And let's hope Carlos doesn't make any more mistakes with the damage he has.
We happy with what
But we're inside the DRS again, so we managed to do that at least.
need some recharge.
Meanwhile, Alonso and Antonelli still fighting. Alright, lap 41. Sainz has locked up again, so that damage really impacting his driving right now. So we are going to have to bring him into the box and change that front wing out. Fortunately, Sainz coming into the pit lane now. We're going to change that front wing out. We're going to move to a medium set of tires. And then hope we can make this time up again. And get back inside the top 10. So your crew taking the broken front wing off. New one comes on. They're working quite fast. There we go. And it's a 8.5 second pit stop coming out behind our teammates. Let's hope the suspension damage isn't too impactful, so that at least we can push now with that front wing again. Stroll on our rear.
16 to 16.
We're just gonna push for a little bit here, just to try and get past Stroll again. Actually, let's let Stroll do the pushing. We do have Verstappen pretty close, and ideally we don't want to get lapped, so that's why I wanna try and push. Stroll is on some old medium tires, so let's just have Sainz go somewhat aggressive here and use some deployment so that we don't get blue flags. So DRS open. Sainz will pull alongside, and then we're gonna use our ERS as well down the main straight just to try and get away from Stroll, try and create some distance. And let's hope we can then run a bit faster than Max Verstappen behind and not have to endure blue flags. Alright, so lap 51, more pit stops have come in, and we've actually come out right behind Antonelli, and he's behind Verstappen. What I'm hoping now is that we can just tag along to the back of Antonelli and keep onto the back of him. He is on soft tires, but let's hope that kind of equalizes throughout the stint here. And Verstappen should be pitting in the next couple of laps as well.
7.7.
So we'll see how that goes. But the plan now is just to try and stick to the back of Antonelli and see how far we can make it up. Alright, so lap 55 now. Antonelli is trying to pull away from us a little bit here. Verstappen has now pit for fresh tires, so he dropped back behind. We're just going to try and get inside the slipstream again of Antonelli, which we do so successfully. Hulkenberg has just dropped behind us. He's on old medium tires, which I should now be able to get past with Albon as well. And Ocon with a serious mistake there. Oh, Alonso now. So Alonso in 12th. Okay, so K0, I think that's the manual deployment, I'm pretty sure. But McLaren coming through there. Sainz now still fighting with Antonelli. So P8 still on the cards, which, yeah, actually not too bad. Could have been a lot worse for Sainz here today. I don't think we could have gotten much better anyway, regardless of with the damage. But obviously, it's again going to be a big cost, you know, replacing that wing early, getting another suspension
What do we have left?
that is broken. So that is definitely not ideal. But Albon now in P10 as well. So we are doing pretty good. A lot of tires, a lot of people on new tires now. Let's hope Albon and the rest can hold on. So blue flag now. One of the McLarens coming through. That is, I assume, is it Piastri then? Oh yeah, Piastri's in the lead now. Verstappen has dropped back significantly, which it's surprising. Right, there we go. So Antonelli has slowed down. Let's hope now he doesn't get any DRS from the McLaren in front, because that would be detrimental. It does look like he's going to get it, which, yeah, that is not going to play into our favor here. Let's just try and use some deployment. Does Antonelli have DRS? No, he does not. Okay. It's a positive. Signs back within DRS. But yeah, Antonelli now latching onto the back of that McLaren, and that is not going to be good for us. We're desperately trying to hold on now. Alonso getting past Albon, but Albon should be able to hold on. It's going to push a little bit here with Carlos. Try and keep up, but Antonelli is keen to stay in front of Piastri. I just hope he gets slowed down again now with Piastri coming up behind him. All right, so lap 66 here. Behrman. Oh, and a big collision. Oh, red flag. Red flag. With 4 or 5 laps to go. And that is, let's see, Leclerc and Norris, I think it is. Oh, and Leclerc losing control over one of the curbs, and that is race ending for Leclerc. That means we do get to fit some soft tires, hopefully. Yep, so we have a bunch of soft tires left, and it's gonna be, let's hope our competitors don't have any fresh soft tires left, and then we can just push until the end. So let's see now. Free position anyway for Leclerc being out. And for the second time today, the 5 red lights go out with Piastri on the front row. And here we go. We're just going to push straight away. Let's see how we stack up when it comes to tire wear. Yeah, so there is some cars with worn tires. And signs up into P7 now. Very nice. There's another crash that went on. Let's see here. Pierre Gasly. Oh, and he collides with one of the Aston Martins. So yeah, there we go. That has already split up the top 10 with the remaining part of the field. Again, we're just going to go high risk now with Carlos Sainz. He is in P6. We know what he's capable of. Come on, Carlos, push now. We know you have damage, but we need some fortune here. And all we need is Carlos now to push hard. His confidence is very high. That's exactly what we need. We're going to do the same with Alex Albon. And onto the back of Lewis Hamilton now in P6. So Sainz here down the straightaway. What can we manage? 3 laps to go. Okay, we're very close to Hamilton here. He's dropping back from Norris, so with some management, we should be able to pull off a move here, possibly.
Let's try and build this back up.
So let's just manage our ES. We're in the slipstream of Hamilton, so is a top 5 on the cards here for Carlos Sainz. We're gonna deploy again. Is DRS already activated? Yes, it is. That plays into our hand again. So we're not gonna deploy here. Are gonna deploy with Albon. We're just gonna let him push. And so Lewis Hamilton now pushing here. We're getting distance from Russell now. So in a turn of events, we might end up with a P5 or P6 here. And now Hamilton pushing hard. We're also going to push now with our deployment. As we're heading into the last lap, we want to make sure we stick close to Lewis Hamilton.
Use their rest.
We're not going to get any of the cars in front, I don't think. But here we go. And I think the AI might be close to actually losing out of deployment now. So let's just see.
Battery is good. Copy.
Here we go. More deployment now needed with signs. Hamilton is also pushing. Oh, it's going to be close. More deployment. Oh, Hamilton has spare deployment as well, it seems. Can we get back in the slipstream before the hairpin here? Oh, we might have mismanaged this a little bit here. We are gonna get DRS, but it's an all-out scrap at the front here on the final lap.
8.
And we do have some deployment spare. And here we come now down the straightaway. Come on, Carlos. Push just that little bit more. We are deploying. But it's not going to be enough, I don't think. No. And we do deploy, but it's going to be P6 in the end. So very nicely done. Albon in 9th. And double scoring for Williams again. But what a turn of events. Going from a potential P8, P9 to a P6 is a win in my book. So very nicely done. Shame we couldn't get Hamilton to beat. I should have left on the deployment throughout the last couple of laps here. I thought it would run out, but obviously it didn't.
Now I imagine Carlos Sainz will be pretty optimistic after that one.
I think they'll be pretty satisfied with this result. They bagged some points and they're going to be pleased with their finish.
And no doubt, Verstappen fans will be celebrating the Dutchman's achievement.
4 superb wins to their name now this year, and it's been a pleasure watching them drive.
Plenty of smiles for the cameras as the drivers can let off some steam here in Montreal. Now, Karun, no doubt there'll be a lot for the teams to process after that race. But how do you think the Williams team are feeling?
There's lots of encouragement to be taken from today's race. Both drivers did really well and showed a lot of promise.
And that's it for this weekend's F1 action here in Montreal.
Next time, the teams will be forging ahead at full throttle through the Styrian forest. The Austrian Grand Prix is right around the corner.
Alright guys, so a very eventful Canadian Grand Prix, well especially at the end of course, but it sees Max Verstappen coming out with the victory, Oscar Piastri in P2, Yuki Tsunoda in a nice P3, so his first podium of the season, racking up some nice points for Red Bull then, Lando Norris in 4th position, Lewis Hamilton 5th, most importantly Carlos Sainz in 6th as well, so very nicely done, getting in front of the 2 Mercedeses. And then Alexander Albon with a nice 9th finish. That will be his highest of the season. Oliver Bearman in 10th. Very nicely done by the rookie. Jack Doohan 11th, just missing out. Then Lance Stroll, Nico Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson, Gabriel Bortoleto, Pierre Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon, and then P18, P19 I want to say, Charles Leclerc obviously dropping out late into the race with that red flag, smashing into the barrier, and then Isaac Hadjar does not finish either. What does that do for the driver's standings? Lando Norris is still in the lead with Max Verstappen not far behind, only 8 points. And then Oscar Piastri in a solid P3 with Lewis Hamilton not too far behind. Charles Leclerc, again, not having a good run of form. He's had quite a bit of podiums already, but yeah, has had a couple of DNFs as well, and you can see that with the gap with Hamilton. George Russell, P6, then Carlos Sainz in P7. Andrea Kimi Antonelli is in P8, but again we managed to extend that gap a little bit again to Antonelli. So now we have a 10-point gap. Yuki Tsunoda, though, you can see he is coming up and scoring a lot of points. So Yuki definitely, well, possibly still challenging for that P5, P6 position here if Leclerc keeps doing bad. Lance Stroll remains in 11th, then Alonso, Pierre Gasly, Bortoleto, Oliver Behrman, and then Alex Albon with his 2 points will move up another 2 positions in the standings. Nico Hulkenberg dropping down. He's been fairly unlucky, I think, throughout the season so far. Esteban Ocon in 18th, Jack Doohan 19th, and Isaac Hadjar 20th. So for the standings, McLaren still in the lead with 335 points. Doesn't look like they're gonna give up that lead anytime soon. Ferrari, you can see, still picking up 10 points, but Red Bull getting ever closer to the prancing horses. Mercedes then only scoring 10 points, and we actually equal them in points in this weekend, so that is very nicely done. We distanced ourselves more from Aston Martin in 6th, Alpine in 7th, Sauber in 8th, Haas picking up 1 point to get closer to Sauber, and then Racing Bulls in last with 2 points and are in 10th, of course. Another very nice bonus here, so picking up both of our race target deals. 13th or higher for Alex, he finished 9th, gets us $500,000. And then 9th or higher for Science gives us a nice 700k, so 1.2 mil in the bank. That is, obviously we're gonna have to change out a suspension and a front wing, so we're gonna lose a big chunk of that money, but you know, good to see that we at least get it done so that we don't have to suffer that money through not getting our sponsor payouts. Alright guys, that has been it for the Canadian Grand Prix. I'd say fairly successful. Wasn't looking like it was going to be a good finish towards the end, but that red flag really bringing us back up to the top and making Sainz score some nice points at the end there. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider giving it a like. Also, maybe subscribing, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified of when I release the next episode. And with that being said, I wish you goodbye.